morning. Good morning, Katrina.
Good morning,
Glad to
Sam.
be able to join you on stage here for IRF Summit 2023. Delighted you're all here. We're going to have a fantastic event. Indeed, I believe this will be an epic event that we're going to have, that the relationships built here and the activities coming out of here will literally change the world. And we need to change this world where there's so much persecution, there's so much difficulty that's taking place to religious people all over the world of all stripes. Now, we've got a pretty simple theme for the IRF Summit. It's a bumper sticker. So I come from the political world, and bumper stickers, if you can't get your thought down to a bumper sticker, you can't convey it. And ours is religious freedom for everybody, everywhere, all the time. That's the theme. That's what we're about. That's what we do. And the beauty of it is that this is a God-given right that unfortunately is being trampled on, limited, or threatened everywhere around the world. It's a right in the original charter, the UN Human Rights Charter. It's a mighty and a deep human right. It is the human right which is most important to us, and that is it's the human right of the soul. A human right so profound and central to us that we are, as humans, people will often suffer and even die for this human right. It's a right authoritarian regimes and governments fear. If people of every faith will stand strong and together for this fundamental human dignity, there is no government that there we go. 80% of the people in the world identify with a faith or a religion. No government can put down 80% of their people. And it's another point. If we don't respect each other's freedom of religion, we will have the clash of civilizations. We are already seeing this, where civilizations clash, and underneath the pinnings of that are religions that are in clash. Ours is a huge task. Freedom for the soul and respect for each other. We will not talk about theology from this stage because we don't agree on theology. We will talk about a common human right, freedom to do with my own soul what I see fit. We want collaboration from this event. We are gathering and fighting here for the abused and beaten, even killed religious minorities that even now are huddled in secret places, yearning with all their heart to worship God as they believe they should. And is that too much to ask? It is not. What we are doing is a worthwhile task that will be part of our inheritance in heaven. When we fight and save a life or help free a soul from tyranny, we literally change the world. That's a noble cause, and it's unusual and uncommon work, but let's get about it. Let's change the world. Welcome to IRF Summit 2023. Katrina?
Thank you so much, Sam. It is wonderful to be here with all of you. The word hope is one that has not been far from my lips and my heart over the last few months. Let me tell you a few of the ways in which I've been using that word. I hope we will have the resources to make this IRF Summit happen. Check. I hope that we will be able to get fantastic speakers to come and enlighten and educate our participants. We have definitely done that. I hope that friends and fellow activists from around the world will be able to join us so that this will truly be an international religious freedom summit. And that too has come to pass. And more prospectively, I have thought that I hope that the results of this wonderful gathering will be greater awareness, changes in policies, alleviation of suffering, and strengthened networks of support and compassion. And I am optimistic, because optimism is a quality of hope, that in fact, some of those goals will be achieved. But as this summit begins, I find myself recalling another definition of hope, one offered by Václav Havel. He was the Czechoslovakian dissident and author and political prisoner who spent many years in jail before becoming the first democratically chosen leader of Czechoslovakia and then the Czech Republic. He had a more muscular and, I might say, even heroic definition of hope. He said, "Hope is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out." My friends, I have a deep certainty that our work to defend and advance freedom of religion, conscience, and belief for everyone, everywhere, all the time makes profound sense. In fact, it makes more sense than almost any worthy cause we could dedicate ourselves to. We are, as my colleague said, fighting for the most fundamental of human rights, the right for each of us to live our lives in accordance with the dictates of our own conscience. And we know that societies that do a good job of protecting this first freedom also protect that full range of other precious rights that we cherish, whether it's freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and more. Societies that defend religious freedom are more peaceful, they are less likely to incubate extremism, and interestingly, and of importance to me, women do better in these societies. So we can have that certainty that what we are doing, in Václav Havel's words, makes sense. But what about the rest of his definition? Namely, that we can claim hope for this worthy endeavor, regardless of how things turn out. Just in the last few days, we've been talking about tragedies around the world. One that resonates in great sorrow with me is the massacre, the intentional massacre of 9 Ahmadi believers in Burkina Faso, dragged out of their mosque and one by one ordered to renounce their faith or face death. And each one of them stayed true to their faith and was murdered, massacred in front of the eyes of their families and friends. How do we square hope with what is sometimes the very daunting and devastating reality of the repression of religious freedom in so many parts of the world? I really do believe, that true hope comes from the knowledge that you and I have anchored our life and our work in the pursuit of something that is right and lasting and true. We are doing that work at this wonderful summit. And I truly believe that in that sense, we can have hope that the seeds we are sowing, the trees we are cultivating, will most assuredly bear fruit in time. And with that said, let's get to work. Thank you so much.